What's going on, ladies and gents? We're back at it again. So we just got it confirmed a couple of days ago. The New York Jets will have the second strongest strength of schedule for the season. The only team with a more difficult schedule is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. So at first glance, it was kind of another thorn in the side, right? Uh, we just can't catch a break. Multiple injuries consistently over the last decade. You can also say that we've had at least like the top 10 strength of schedule consistently, which just didn't make a whole lot of sense before I checked into it because you would imagine as a low performing team, something will break even for you. But there's no real reason or rhyme to it. Basically, how we come up with this. Uh, Result is that they take the expected wins versus kind of what the opponents are going to look like. And then if you just break it down, we're also facing a murderous row quarterback. So we have Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. We're playing Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, who's now here in the AFC, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, who just got a huge boost in the passing game. And then, of course, just in our own division, we're facing Tua twice, which, regardless of what you think about him, he just got a bunch of weapons added and brought back. Josh Allen, who's the cream of the crop in our division, and then Mac Jones, who's arguably the best rookie quarterback. And whatever, your thoughts are on him, he brought his team to the playoffs. So all of that, by the way, with a pretty lackluster wide receiving core. Um, and the one thing that sticks out of my head too, just quick tidbit, was I don't remember which game it was, but they ran the ball. I want to say like almost 60 times. Mac Jones only threw it 3 times. So I love the genius that is Bill Belichick, and he will go against the grain 100%. But needless to say, that is a lot of top tier talent. We're facing essentially every quarterback that's either been in a Super Bowl, has been a part of the playoffs the last couple years, or is on the uprise. I mean, the lowest rated quarterbacks that we're playing right now is going to be probably Tua Tagovailoa, and then maybe Deshaun Watson if you just want to consider the time that year that he had to take away from football. Everybody else is it's as best as it's going to get. So I actually love how this matchup is going to work. There's a couple things that I want to consider. For one, just within our own division, because I think I think the team building philosophy is obviously going to be different from franchise to franchise. But I think ultimately playoffs is kind of the first, bottom tier goal that everybody's going to have, and then Super Bowl being kind of like the long term one. The immediate, quickest way to get to the playoffs is going to be by dominating your division. So when you kind of take the stock of what you guys have in house versus what's happening in the rest of the division, strengths versus weaknesses, essentially, you have to imagine that we at least build certain components of our roster to say that this is where we can dominate certain matchups. Um, I won't say it's 100% stock in it again. I don't think that's the best way to necessarily go about trying to build your team based on what somebody else is doing. But I think it only makes sense to some degree. So this will give us a very good idea where we stack up. Are we truly the bottom basement dwellers of the AFC East, or have we made some significant headway? Have we put the Dolphins behind us? I think it's fair to say that the Bills may be at the top for a while, but can we be close, or can we outmatch the Patriots? That's really going to be the first couple goals in division. Take out the Dolphins. How do we stack up to the Patriots? How far away does it look like we're able to compete with the Bills? Because they're going to be the long-standing playoff caliber team in that division. Secondly, again, talking about in-house, who's going to end up being our standout players? We played, I believe it was the second highest number of snaps for rookies, second only to the Lions, I think it was. It sounds great on paper, but keep in mind, nobody really wants to play a million rookies. Unless you're just super, confident that you can get them developed extremely quick. But time has pretty much shown that's not the case. So who's going to stand out in year two, right? Does Zach Wilson take a huge leap? Can Elijah Moore be maybe that pseudo number one wide receiver that a lot of people think that he can, just based off some of those eye-popping stats that have been put out? Does Corey Davis maybe bounce back and show that he can potentially be a number one wide receiver? Does Denzel Mims finally come and just at least become a significant contributor to the offense? Nobody's expecting him to magically be a number one wide receiver, but now that he's having a healthy offseason, what does that look like? And then does Braxton Berrios continue to be an all-around threat for us, right? We have the tight ends that we just brought in. Can we continue to see the dominance that they showed, which was the reason why we signed them, with the bread and butter being the blocking, but also the yards after catch ability? We know Tyler Conklin's a little bit of a route running savant as far as tight ends go. The offensive line, can we make sure they gel? We still got question marks for as much as we're saying the talent is there. We have the left tackle competition. A thought that came up that I didn't really think about originally was, if we're having a left tackle competition, who's playing the right side? Because it's not much of a competition if you give George Fant, all the snaps or some snaps one day, and then have Mekhi Becton go to the right and then just have him swap out. We know the left guard is settled. Connor McGovern, are we still going to try to upgrade at some point during the offseason? AVT's at the right guard spot. I just talked about in the last video. Laurent Duvernay-Tardif potentially coming back at some point in the offseason if we can get him re-signed. So aside from depth, there's still some things in terms of the continuity that we have there that needs to get figured out. And then on the defense, we need huge steps moving forward. So, who stands out there? Does Quentin Williams finally take that elite season that we've been waiting for? Does, John Franklin Myers live up to the contract extension we just got him? Do we maybe see some contributors that are taking steps back due to injury, like Bryce Huff? Does Carl Lawson bounce back? Does CJ Mosley continue to be a serviceable veteran in the linebacker core? What is Jamin Sherwood and Hamza Nasruddin going to look like? Maybe Noah Dawkins ends up improving a bit. Maybe Quincy Williams ends up rounding out his game more than we expect, and actually becomes a starter instead of maybe a high-end backup. The secondary, at least in the cornerback position, looks great. We could always still look to add talent there, but walking into the season, you can feel confident about them. And then at safety, it's not a whole lot relatively to talk about because it's been a very, very heavy rotation. But Elijah Riley's still there. LaMarcus Joyner, who we really didn't get to see. Marcus May is now gone, but Jason Pinnock came in, stepped up, made some really nice plays for us at the end of the season. So maybe that conversion continues to go smoothly. And then, what do we do in the draft? So in-house, there's a lot of things for us to piece together before we can go out there and really say, like, here's we're looking for a 9-8 season, something like that. So aside from that, I would also say this will be truly a test of where we're at in our rebuild. I talked about in previous videos as well, kind of it being 3 stages, us clearing house, bringing in the rookies, getting them developed, and then finally adding either some star pieces or just, the right mix of veteran versus rookie players there. En route to us being a consistent playoff team. This right here can either divide the fan base into saying we need to blow it all up again, or people will take it for what it is. There's an influx of crazy talent in the AFC, and it's something that I'm hoping JD and Robert Saleh take stock of too. Crazy talent, influx of talent, specifically at the quarterback position, that has come over to the AFC. We know the division's improved with ridiculous moves. Tyreek Hill, Josh Allen's added weapons. Jamison Crowder goes over to him. They're trying to round out the defense more. Mac Jones might see significant investments in a wide receiver position for him. We know the defense is always stout in New England, so we can either say maybe we need that additional buffer year so that the next, the rookie incoming class that we have coming in a couple weeks can also be there. I did see something saying, we lost, there's significant amount of high-end free agents that we would have been in on that said no to us. I'm not really concerned with that. I love the in-house building philosophy, but, do we pull the plug on this whole operation, or do we ride this out? And maybe even if we don't see 8 wins, if we see a couple division wins, maybe we get some. I would have to say we're underdogs in all of these games, but maybe we beat out Derek Carr. Maybe we show up Deshaun Watson still coming back. Who knows if he even plays? Um, maybe Joe Burrow takes a step back, something like that. Who knows? But um, I would like to say that we're moving forward in the rebuild. So this will give us a true indication of where we're at there. And then last but not least, I would say the coaching improvements. Robert Saleh would be the first to mention. Excuse me. First to mention in and of itself. There were some time management issues, or clock management issues, I should say. There's definitely the aggression factor. We replaced who our like fourth down expert was going to be, essentially. Forget what the position's called, but there's going to be a whole new level of things that he's going to have to adjust to. So can Mike LaFleur continue to take the next step? We've seen the play calling continuously improve throughout the season, up to the point where people were saying he was genius with some of the things that he was able to pull off. He even went into his handy-dandy notebook and, pulled off that exciting Braxton Berrios play. I forget what he said he named it, but can we continue to see creativity out of him, especially with the new influx of talent that we've given him at the skill position? So all in all, I would say, be excited for what this season is going to be coming up. I think if we flourish, then we undoubtedly have a lot of a lot of ability to go ahead and talk the smack that we need to talk. If we take a step back, we also need to realize then we aren't where we need to be at. It's either from a developing player standpoint, maybe we're still not bringing in the right kind of talent. We'll need to take a full-scale review of everything as expected. But